Just re-
So, so when you're talking about probate and estates, the reason that those processes exist is because the state of Florida wants all real estate to generate as much revenue as possible for the citizens within that state, within the respective county, right? You guys still there? Hello? Bro, you still there? Somehow you got, it looks like Aaliyah got kicked. You still there, bro? That's odd. Test, test, test.
We're still in
Can you hear
here.
me? Okay, okay. So the state wants all property to be productive and produce a tax base, right? And so when there is an estate or a probate account, whatever the case is, the court appoints someone, in this case, Pat, and it says, Pat, go do the things and make sure that the estate is handled appropriately. Use whatever judgment you will, right? And that's what effectively it says in the letter that they received as the executor or administrator of the estate, the person who's in charge. But if under certain circumstances that person is not fulfilling the best wishes of the estate, you can challenge an appointee from the court and you could say, hey, Mr. Judge, that person has not fulfilled the obligation that they have to fulfill the duties of the appointed of their appointed post. I have proposed to this person an opportunity to turn an asset or effectively a liability to a degree. I have proposed a plan to take this property from liability to asset, and I have also brought forth a plan. I've also brought forth a plan to pay them for the opportunity to do it, and all the functions there within have been outlined in this plan that I bring toward the court. And they told me no, they do not have the financial capacity, understanding, or know-how to do this. And I cannot execute this plan as it is. I am seeking the right over this estate so that I can go forth with this plan as it is written and rightfully provide them the capital that I promised them, while also bettering our family and the wishes of those who have come before us. And I can almost assure you that if you laid out your plan, I don't know Florida, in Pennsylvania, that's a big thing because they want them all producing they want every property producing revenue. And if you're saying, look, I will take this asset, turn it into revenue producing, I will do all these things, and I am willing to go on paper and say I will pay them the money. I'm not trying to steal anything. I want to do the right thing, and they're not doing it. You'd very likely win that case. And it's not even, I mean, it sounds more complicated than it is, and I got a little bit into the weeds there, but it's not particularly difficult, as at
Right.
least in Pennsylvania. You could absolutely do that. And so is it you also it's family court, it's small claims, right? It's not small claims, it's estates. And so it's very, very like low effort, low energy, low cost. You don't necessarily need a lawyer to do any of this. I handled the entirety of the administration of my father's estate myself with like no very minimal coaching. The websites outline very clearly what you needed to do, or at least for Pennsylvania. And so I suspect it'd be the same thing. But if that's the position that you ended up taking, and then you had to reclaim the estate control from your aunt, then that might be what you do, right?
Mhm.
The court wants the properties to go to the most applicable and most. We can go look and what's the court's position, right? What is the point of probate? Probate is another word. It determines. So it's sometimes the probate process yada 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 determines that a purported will valid. Nope, that's not what I want. That's not what I wanted. They didn't tell me what I needed to do. What is the what does the court from an administrator? All right. What does the court want from an executor? Administrator is no will. The executor is with the will. Pay the debts and claims against the state. File legal documents on behalf of the state. Distribute assets of the estate in accordance with the decedent's will or the North Carolina intestacy laws. Right. And so if they're not doing that, then they're not fulfilling the will of the court. And if Pat is not doing it, then you have a fair case to pursue that. I would make sure that you have an understanding of what you would want to do and how you would explicitly do it. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't talk to her about what the process would be. But if she is not doing it, she's not doing it. Kind of getting behind the scenes here, I had a challenge against me as the manager of my father's estate. It was
Mhm.
it was an invalid claim, but the position that one of my relatives took was that I was not a viable candidate to administer my father's estate because I had been gone from the Marine Corps in so long. And then
Mhm.
also their position, which was fraud, was that there was a better candidate within our family to administer the estate that belonged to my father, and before him, my grandmother, right? And,
Mm.
it was a cousin effectively, right? Their position was that that cousin had greater rights than I did based on some previous documents and how, like, you were the first grandchild and you were placed in the documents for it will, right? Well,
Mm.
I had a relative who was in some documents originally, but the documents changed and they didn't like that at all. And so they brought forth a claim that, well, it was obvious that the grandmother wanted this relative to be the person who received everything. And so that person's child should receive everything. And I'm like, that's
Right.
a great conversation, but that's not what the laws say.
Right.
And in the pursuit of what the laws say, I am trying to do something here. What's your plan? What's your conversation? How do you intend to devise this property? How do you intend to add value, not only to enrich our family, but also to meet the will of what the country, the state secretly doesn't say, which is they want you to pay taxes. I want to return this to production for the state. I want it to enrich my family, and I am intending to turn it to production for the state.
Right.
And the state was like, "Yeah, no, you can't take this property. You know, we're not making that child the administrator, which would give this lady the true control of the properties. And also, no, he's doing what he said he would do." Right.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording now. I appreciate that.